Hello everyone. So recently I've just joined the tournament and I got 4 out of 5 points. But that was not gonna enough to get top 3 because my tiebreaker was low, but I did get 4th place. But today I will show you my 3rd, 4th, and 5th game of the tournament. So here I was playing with the black pieces and he started with e4. I replied with e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5. This is the Gyoko panel game, and he castled. So I just went knight f6 and he went d4, giving up a pawn. I thought that if I take with the knight, they can take the pawn on e5 and have a threat on f7. So, and if I take with the pawn, I would double my pawn. So instead, I took with the bishop. He took with the knight. I took with the knight. And then he tried to undermine my center. I defended it with d6. And then we trade here, bishop e3. I had to develop quickly, so I castled. He took here, and then I traded off the queens. And then he went e5, and then knight g4 attacking the e5 pawn. Rook e1, rook e8. Now there's no way to defend the e5 pawn. And after c3 here, I should have just went rook takes e5, but instead I went d takes c3. And then knight takes c3, rook takes e5, rook takes e5, knight takes e5, and now he has this rook e1. I thought I was lost here, but then I thought for a moment I can go knight d7 or knight g6. And you can see my time here, 12 minutes 27 seconds. And by the way, there is a 5-second increment. So after I played this move, it took me about 40 seconds to realize I can make this move. And then obviously rook e1 check, knight f8 only move, knight d5, threatening knight e7 check. And after king h8, rook takes f8 check, mate. So I went g6, making an escape square, knight e7 check, king g7, and he won the bishop on c8. Now, after this trade, I still have 2 pawns for the bishop. So I started by defending this pawn, and then developing my knight. And then I just try to get all my pawns to safety and get my knight as active as possible. And we traded off a pawn, and then I just kept trying to defend my pawns. And I also tried to activate my king here. So my king can also help with the 2 versus 1 pawn majority here. So I tried to make my pawn structure better on the king side, which I did. Knight d7 check, king d6, knight b8, because now if he went knight f8 attacking the f7 pawn, then I can go king e7. Same thing with knight f6. So he just went back, knight b8, king e7, bishop b5, king d6, bishop e2, knight a4, bishop knight a6, and then we just kept moving our pieces around, and no one knew what to do until he started maneuvering his knight around and then attacked this pawn. Now there's no way to defend it. If I go knight d5, he can just take with his bishop, so I had to push. And then here I only had 56 seconds on the clock, so I had to play fast. So I just started by activating my king and pushing my pawns. Here I think I should have just came back to f5 and then let him take my pawn or just take his bishop with my knight, but instead I just try to hang on to every pawn with king h4. Now g3 check, f takes g3, h takes g3, and then he won a pawn, and then he won a second pawn. But here, it's not an easy win for white, and I tried to make it a hard win for him. But after he played this move, I knew that this was going to be a draw because I went knight f6. Well, now I'm threatening knight takes g4 check, and after bishop takes g4, king takes g4 is draw. So he went knight g1 check. I just went king g4. I just want to win that pawn. He went king f3 to defend the pawn, but he did not defend his bishop. And then after this trade, it was insufficient material, and it was a draw. So this was round 3. So now we will go to round 4, which I was here. My opponent played pretty bad in this game. Okay, so e4, and then here responded with e5, knight f3, knight c6, and then a Gyoko piano game again, but this time I played the main line, the center attack. And here, after this trade, black should go d5 or knight takes e4, but instead he went castle. Then I took this as an advantage and pushed e5. Now here he could have played rook to e8 to pin the pawn, but instead he played knight to e8. I castled knight a5, and then I went my bishop back, so after the trade I can develop my queen. He tried to get rid of my really strong e5 central pawn, but I just defended it with my rook, and then he just gave me his b7 pawn, and then rook b8, I just took his a7 pawn, and now I set it up a trap. I went rook a to d1, threatening knight c4, attacking the queen and the rook, and he didn't see it. He played bishop e6. I went knight c4. He went rook takes a2, queen takes a2, and I don't really know why he played that, but he resigned here. So, onto the last game. So the last game was actually pretty long, and I don't really have time to explain every move, but I can tell you this. It was 94 moves. So it was a really long game. Instead it was e4, and then it was a Sicilian defense, dragon variation, and then I can just quickly speed through the opening into a critical position, which was here. After he played f5, I saw this pin and this pawn here, so I immediately took this pawn with my bishop, also targeting the d6 pawn. He went to defend, and then we just started moving some pieces around. I traded my knight. I also tried to get more of his pawns, like his isolated a5 pawn and backwards d6 pawn, like a d8, protecting the pawn. Rook d5, queen c6. I went queen e2 here to defend the c2 pawn. Takes, and then here we just traded queens, and then we just traded more pawns, and now he has a really weak d6 pawn. And back here he was threatening rook e1 mate, so I had to bring my rook back. He played here. I didn't want him to get double rooks on the second file. And then I just got free pawn. And then I just started maneuvering my pieces so I can just promote my pawns. So yeah, at this time I only had 2 minutes and I needed way more time to think. I tried getting my king over, which I was successful with. And now here I only have 30 seconds, but there's a 5-second increment. We traded off rooks, and I was pretty happy about that because you shouldn't trade when you're down material. Also here, I was threatening knight f6 check, winning the g4 pawn, or knight f6 check, and then knight e4, and kicking away the bishop. So he saw that. I went back here trying to fork him here, but he saw that too. And then I just tried to get some time because there's 5-second increment. I don't have much time. Here he was running rook to a3 check. If I went king b2, then bishop d4. But I could take him and then he takes me. And it's pretty much a draw. And he only has 7 seconds. So I just got my king back. He went here. I went here. Because I don't really know. Because I was just going to move into these 4 squares until I get more time. And then here he played a blunder. I immediately saw this fork. And then the rest was just pretty easy. I just switched my pawns and used my increment to gain more time. And then this, in the end, was an easy win. I can just speed through this. And then in the end, I just used the ladder mate. And then this was a checkmate. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.